Hi everyone, I am Stephanie Monge from Silicon Prairie News, and today we are joined by a very special guest, Claudia Muñoz-Nájar, who is going to share a little bit about her journey as the co-founder of Build Más. So thank you, Claudia. Excited to have you here today. So to start off, can you just tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, my career started in tech at IBM. I was in consulting. Then I moved to the US for the first time. I did an MBA at UNC Chapel Hill in North Carolina. Then I moved to Connecticut for around 10 years. Worked in corporate there for Pratt & Whitney and United Technologies Corporation. That's when my founder career started. I founded my first startup, a US e-commerce startup in Glastonbury, Connecticut. Moved back to Peru. Then I worked for, I founded and scaled an executive education program in a 2-year-old university called UTech, which is a top engineering school in Peru. And then for the destiny or personal reasons, we moved to Omaha. And that's when I founded my third company, Build Más, which is what we're going to talk about today. So basically 3 companies in 2 countries and 2 languages.
All right. So a founder at least 3 times over. Tell us a little bit about Build Más. Like, what was your initial vision for the company and what was the need that you saw?
So the construction sector in the US is a $2 trillion market, and the Hispanic contractors represent a big portion of that. And they are usually business owners that they cannot handle all the work that they have. They run their business in paper and text, and all the tools available for them seem to be for more like English-speaking office managers than Spanish-speaking business owners in the field. So Build Más was a bilingual platform that will help them with estimating, invoicing, and payments, built to remove the barriers of language and complexity.
Tell us about just kind of the journey of starting the company and how that was.
So I was talking to an investor actually here in Omaha who told me for the first time about the Hispanic community in construction, and I was very curious. So I enrolled in a customer discovery class at UNL. I talked to some contractors live, Hispanic contractors, who they told me, they were very skilled tradespeople, again, probably being the sub of the sub of the sub.
Okay.
Probably doing the hardest work and being paid the least, and running their businesses in paper and pen. And that basically really touched my heart and propelled me to act. I co-founded Build Más with Armando Salgado, who has very deep roots in construction. We did a lot of customer discovery. We validated the prototype, a Figma prototype, which led us to basically apply for Enmotion. So we were accepted into Enmotion in the fall of 2024, which was our first investor, and that gave us the collateral and the credibility to apply for the Nebraska prototype grant, which we also received shortly after. We ran into some technical problems during the product development phase that we managed through, and we were able to recover, but that delayed our launch. So we ended up launching in late spring 2025, I would say. Then got started with traction in the summer of 2025. Then growing 20% month over month, which was the requirement for investment. And then we were able to hit in the winter 2025 $1,300 monthly recurring revenue with approximately between 25 and 30 customers. The CEO has to be responsible also for making the hard decisions. So we didn't have a clear funded path that I could see that we could stay in business. So I decided to close the business.
Thank you for sharing that, because the reality is many founders or CEOs end up facing similar struggles or outcomes, and it isn't always the case that folks are willing to kind of share the behind the scenes of what happened. So thank you for your courage and vulnerability and willingness to share with others. So what did you learn from this whole process?
Oh, so many things. But the first thing, which is why we ended up closing, I think fundraising. I had no previous experience. Although I had built businesses, I didn't have experience in fundraising.
And I just want to say, to clarify, in case it's helpful, just like fundraising, seeking investment from venture capitalists,
Yes.
and that when we're talking about fundraising, we're talking about
Yes.
investment for equity in the company.
Yes. It was a great learning experience, but it is really truly a full-time job.
Mm.
So as a founder, you need to figure out how to do it well. You need to find the hours in the day to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you want to get funding for equity. The second biggest lesson will be that product market fit, which is key too, doesn't equal fundability.
Interesting.
So people say it's a misconception that if you find product market fit, then maybe you are fundable. But in our case, it wasn't the truth, no? And maybe the timing of the market was not helping us, because helping Hispanic contractors was not in the investors' appetite, and,
Sure.
and the stage we were, the timing with all the new political situation.
Mm.
We all know that women get
Like
2% of
yes.
the VC money, and Latina women even a fraction of
Correct.
that.
Yes.
And I knew that going into, but I didn't realize how important it would be for my specific situation in that specific timing, in that specific stage.
Right.
As woman and as Latina, you need to bank that in the planning process for the fundraising moment. And the other lesson that I think sometimes we forget is that everything takes double or triple the time that you plan for.
Sure.
So building the product, getting the traction, doing the fundraising, and you need to be on top of it, like and iterate and plan again,
right.
to make sure that you count that in the planning, because you don't want to get to running out of funds and not having the so it's like so many variables at the same time,
right?
But you need to be able to plan for that.
Something that resonates with me as you're talking about this is I've talked with founders who have successfully raised outside investment, and something they've acknowledged in those conversations is that timing and luck, and there are so many other factors beyond do I have a great product market fit? And yes, so I just want to acknowledge that is absolutely something that I think is a truth. Like, you can have an excellent idea, and for whatever reason, this is not the moment that it will take off. So,
and conditions change too.
Correct.
Like, I had some expectations in January that when I went back to my key investors and talk about, okay, I'm ready, then conditions had changed completely, and I'm like, okay. So that's why it's so important to keep in touch consistently with them, and make sure that you are aware of all these changes, and put them back in your planning process.
Yeah, that sounds like helpful advice. Anything like you wish that you had known when you started, or any like advice that you would want to share for someone else who's like just getting started right now?
Yes, I think I have a few of those too as well. I think one key advice is, first, as a founder, you have to do everything yourself first before you hand it into anyone else. Just because you need to understand what it takes in order to be able to manage it and maybe also troubleshoot it if a problem arises. And that's even more important in the sales and marketing aspect, because you need to know what it takes to sell.
Sure.
In order to build the processes and everything around it. I will say that's key. Then another big lesson for us was, as soon as you can have the product built in-house, if you are not a tech founder or a deep tech expertise founder, the sooner you can have that in-house, the more control you have.
Sure.
With timelines, with pivots, with
quality. And expenses as well.
100%.
Yeah, sure.
So that's key. Another big lesson for us, and that was very ingrained through Pipeline as well.
The Pipeline program
community
in Kansas City?
Yes, which I'm going to talk about it later as well, is build a sales and operations cadence on a weekly basis, which means track all your metrics. That changes over time, but all your key metrics in sales, marketing, and operations on a weekly basis.
Okay.
Which is something that it will allow you to iterate and to realize things that are not going as planned and change them quickly. And finally, the founder journey is a very lonely journey.
It can be, for sure.
So I think surrounding yourself with community that understands that can support you through the journey is key. And I will praise the Nebraska ecosystem, which is a great ecosystem to build in. And InMotion was a great program. I still keep in touch with all the founders. We have a monthly call where we vent basically and support each other.
I love that.
Pipeline is incredible. I highly recommend all the founders in Nebraska to apply for that, either the Pathfinder or the Fellow, wherever stage you are at. But that's still, we keep in touch with them. Leandro was amazing. Carissa, Melissa, Kate, everybody was an amazing support system. And Elvan, which is the Latino Business Action Network community that I joined in the spring of last year. That's also an incredible, I made amazing friends that I still keep in touch. And they were there for me when I was going through this, decision-making process of what should I do. So community is huge, and I think Omaha and Nebraska is an amazing community, and I'm helpful. I'm so glad that I built here.
So is there anything else that you would like to share with folks in the SPN community about yourself, about this journey, what you've learned, anything?
Well, I am very proud of what Build Más was and what it stood for, and the mission of economic mobility for the Hispanic contractor community, and that doesn't end because Build Más ends. And I cherish all the contractors that we met through the process, and just how happy they were to be able to use a tool in their language. So that was basically great, and that won't go away. But I would like to thank all the mentors and investors and community and team members that help us through the process. It takes a village. Even though it's a journey, it's a lonely journey, it takes a village to pull it off. So I will just want to thank everybody. And as I said, I'm so glad that I came to Omaha and I found this community, and we built here.
Claudia, thank you so much for your time, for your willingness to share your story today. And I will speak on behalf of the entire SPN community when I say we're all rooting for you and wishing you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me here.